By the end of this video, you will know how to double your profits by holding your winners longer. Let's go. So let me show you something crazy. If we take a look at this trade over here, we can see it's a pretty decent trade, right? The stock was going up. I waited for a nice little pullback, entered right over there, started squeezing up, and I sold on this candle over here. Not a bad trade. Not a bad trade at all. From this, I netted $21,000. But here's where it gets crazy. Take a look at these trades over here. Over here, I took two trades. One trade over here, and I sold it over here. Another trade over here, and I sold it over here. I took double the trades, but I made 3 times less from this stock. I only made $7,000. How is that possible? I took double the amount of trades in the stock, but I made 3 times less. So what I'm showing you is that more trades does not equal more profit. That's not an automatic relationship. And like 90% of the time, just holding your winners longer is more profitable than spamming trades. This is something that I prioritize so much that I only take A+ setups. That's what I personally call it. I call them A+ setups. And there's weeks where I maybe only take one trade. And that's fine by me because that one trade is going to be quality. But there is one big caveat that you need to remember because it sounds fun, right? Let's just keep holding our winners. There's one big thing you have to remember. This doesn't mean that you should just enter the stock like over here and then just keep holding it, being like, yeah, eventually it'll go back up because I need to hold my winners for super long. I need this to double. That's not what you should do. You should have sold the stock minutes ago. You should have sold the stock over here. But don't keep holding on to it, being like, no, I need this to double. I need every trade to double. That's not the way to think about this. The key to this entire thing is to sell at resistance. There's 2 types of resistance that I mainly focus on. And this is exactly how I hold my winners for way longer than most people. The first type of resistance I like to call price resistance. And the other type of resistance I like to call top wick resistance. We're going to go through both of them in a second, but let's first go through price resistance. Right, so we're on the chart and we have a gapper pulled up, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by price resistance. So we can see the stock's made a very nice move upwards. It found resistance, curled back up, and you can see over here it's starting to find resistance at this level. It finds resistance and goes right back up to a very similar point. Right, so it found resistance at this $1.48 level. It then went down, started curling back up, and we have a setup right over here. So if I wanted to trade the stock, I would trade it right over here. That's where I would take my entry. But where would I sell, right? I'm not going to sell for like a tiny gain, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and hold this winner for as long as humanly possible. How do I do that? Well, because I know that this stock is finding resistance at this $1.48 level, $1.50 level, I know that my take profit is going to be very close to it. So I'm not going to aim for $1.50 because it's too obvious. So I'm going to aim for a couple cents below that. And I can see that $1.48 over here, we had resistance previously. So my take profit for this trade will be $1.48. Let's see what happens. Well, I entered the trade. Stock goes up. And you can see that it reaches $1.48 on this candle over here. So this stock would have netted me a 7% gain. You see what I mean? This is a very tiny move, but it's netted me 7%. Why? Because I've maximized the winner. I've held it for as long as I possibly could to extract as much out of it as possible. If I just waited for a 2 or 3% gain, my account's never going to grow. Like the thing you have to keep in mind is that you need to keep your winners as big as possible because that's what's going to grow your account. Your account's not going to grow if you're taking tiny 2%, 3%, 1% trades. It's going to grow rapidly fast if you're making 20% trades, 30% trades, 15% trades. And these small winners that you do take that are up like 2 or 3%, the main reason for them is just to offset your losses. That's it. So inevitably when you take a loss, let's say you lose 5%, 3%, whatever, you're going to be fine because your winners are also 2 and 3 and 4%. So these small trades are just to offset your losses. The real money comes from entering, taking as much of the profit as you possibly can, just holding it for as long as possible. That's where the account really starts to grow. Now, learning these techniques is pretty easy, but when you actually try to execute, doubt will start to creep in. And that's why I've opened up a few spots in my calendar for my mentorship. If you want me to build out a custom game plan built specifically for you, you want to learn my strategy one-on-one and have every trade that you take reviewed by me, then book a strategy session. It's the first link in the description. Go fill out that little form and I'll see you guys on the call. Right, so the next piece of resistance that I was talking about was top wick resistance. This is so underrated and it's so obvious that people just decide to ignore it completely. I don't know why. But top wicks are these things you can see over here. You see where the top wick is left on the candle, like this, and these three over here. Top wicks, it's so obvious, but people ignore it. It's like top wicks, what they're telling you, they're very obviously telling you, like, don't buy me. You know, there's a lot of resistance, do not buy me. It's like those red poisonous frogs that are super red that tell you, don't eat me because I'll kill you. That's what it's like. They're so obvious that people decide to ignore them. Let me tell you what a top wick actually means. If we look at this candle over here, we can see it opened over here. For 1 minute, it just danced around for a little bit. But what's very important is you can see that it went all the way up to $1.39 and then came all the way back down to $1.36. This means that these 3 cents, again, might not sound like a lot, but these 3 cents very clearly tell you that there's a lot of resistance. Anytime the stock makes a new high, people just dump the sell button. Anytime it makes a new high again, they dump the sell button. It makes a new high again, people dump the sell button. And you can see it's being accompanied by pretty high volume. That again tells you that people, when they see it make a new high, they're just selling. Why would you want to be entering when other people are selling? That doesn't make any sense. So the way that you actually maximize how long you hold the winner for is to sell when you see top wicks forming. So let's say you take this entry over here, a little bull flag over here. Let's say you enter over there, right? Instead of aiming for high of day, which would net you 2.2%, which as we talked about, it's not going to do much. You should instead sell at the highest point possible. So you keep holding the stock and you can see there's a bit of a topping tail. It's like, okay, this is not great, but we still close green. Let's see what happens. Next candle, pushes higher, a bit of a topping tail again. So keep in the back of your head, this is finding a lot of resistance. Next candle, this is confirmation. You can't get any more clear than this that the stock has lost momentum. 3 topping tails in a row. Look at how much volume these candles have. It's very obvious that the stock is going nowhere. You should sell the stock right now. And that's where you sell. So you can see how just by looking at these topping tails, which are very simple, you literally doubled your potential profit from like 2.2% to 4.5%. And you can see after that, the stock just kind of starts going down. So we sold almost near the very top because we focused on topping tails. So that's the second one. This is very common. Try and apply this the next time you trade because they're very common. So those were the 2 ways to hold your winners for longer. The first one, like I said, was selling at a price point. We can see it's finding resistance over here, found resistance again. So I'm going to keep this level as my next take profit. I enter over here at that bull flag and I sell at the same level as I found resistance before. Now, once you get very advanced, you can start doing different things. You can start saying, listen, I might sell half of my position and I'll keep riding out the next wave up. Because maybe it can go higher. It really could. So you sell half of your position here and you keep the other half to just ride up and up and you sell at a higher point. But that's very advanced. Right now, the best thing to do is just to lock in those wins and sell at a price point. The next one we talked about, like I said, was top wicks. You can see it's very obvious all the top wicks that are present. I'm just drawing arrows. It's very obvious. People choose to ignore this. I don't know why. But selling at those top wicks when you can see that the stock is going nowhere, it's losing its momentum, super high volume selling, we're just going to sell the stock. And that often ends up being one of the highest points that you can possibly sell the stock. So those were the 2 ways to hold your winners for longer. Now don't forget, book a strategy session. It's the first link in the description. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video, guys. I really appreciate it. See you guys in the next video. Peace.